So I really feel for new software developers. You spend a long time training, maybe going to university, going to a boot camp, learning on your own, and then suddenly AI comes along and you think, is that it? Are we cooked? As the cool kids say. Software developers are asking this question every day. And I'm joining the throngs of commentators who are giving their opinion on the matter. To answer the question really quickly, if you just want to skip past this video, no, I don't think it's the end for software developers. But again, I really do feel for the people who are just getting into this industry because it's completely changed the way we work. And if you are coming into this industry fresh, like if you've been aware of programming or, how it works in general for the last few years, then you've probably seen both sides. You've probably seen the more traditional way of writing code, if we can call it traditional, and the things that come with that. So, how to find solutions by pair programming or looking on Stack Overflow to see if somebody else had the same issue. But now you're having to shift that mindset into, well, AI will tell me what to do. And that starts to bring to the surface all of these worries and fears of, am I relevant anymore? Do I still need to be there if people are just vibe coding software as a service applications with AI? Now, there's a lot of extreme sort of views out there on the internet. People are saying that, software development is over. Programmers don't need to learn how to code anymore. I honestly think right now that is just outright nonsense. There are a lot of people who are being more sensible, and they're saying, look, it's about responsibility. Who is accountable for the code that we put into production? And I think it's a really simple answer, that the human is still accountable for the code. Let's say you're writing a healthcare application, something that is critical to somebody's life. You might be writing software for a scanner. This has actually happened before AI. We've seen the notorious case of people getting lethal doses of radiation because of a bug in software. And that was when a human was writing it. So if we turn that over to the AI and just implicitly trust it, we're asking for trouble. And who's going to be the person we're going to look at? It's the person who pushed the code. And it's not just healthcare. Can you imagine if we just decided to turn all of our defense development over to an AI? Come on. So I have no doubt that there is an extensive use of AI in healthcare, potentially defense, banking, all these critical industries that have software that we rely on. But I'm not seeing any evidence at the moment that we're just saying, yeah, let the AI do it. It's all on the AI. And it's not. Now, the classic argument against AI taking over software development is the element of creativity. There's no substitute for human creativity. We can think outside of contexts, outside of the box, so to speak. And an AI can often be very restricted to a very specific context. It has tunnel vision to a certain extent, but it still has to generate something, and that's when we get hallucinations. Things that just don't make sense, but to someone who maybe is less experienced or less confident, they might not know that it's wrong. And that is why it is incredibly important that you still have a high degree of proficiency with the programming language that the AI is using. My day job is as a CTO, and I've addressed this by saying to the devs, if you want to go and use AI, that's great. In fact, I encourage you to, because as a company, being able to iterate rapidly and ship things quickly, fantastic, especially for a startup. But you are still accountable for that code. So when we consider that, my devs still need to have a really good understanding of C# and JavaScript because those are the languages that we use. So I think the better way to think about it is not that the AI has come to replace us. It's that the AI has come to help us and to accelerate the work we were already doing. Developers are turning more into shepherds. We're taking the busy work out of software development and we're saying to the AI, hey, you've got this down. Just go and write me something that sends an email via SMTP. Just give me something that gives me a random number. I just need that functionality quickly and I'll check it, but I don't need to go and remember every little bit of the syntax. I'll just review it once you're done. And I think when we think like this, tools like Cursor, GitHub Copilot, they suddenly become way more valuable because we've put those guardrails around the AI. We're treating the AI like another developer and we're reviewing everything that they output. Also, let's not forget that people are still writing programming languages. Rust, Python, C#, these are all languages that are still being maintained and developed. And yes, AI may be playing a part in that, but the languages are evolving in their own right. And so people are still going to have to understand the context in which those languages are changing. We can't just trust that the AI knows what has changed and is aware of how to adopt new practices that have been decided by humans. So all in all, for me, so far I've found AI to be an incredible accelerator. And maybe this is more for people coming into the industry who are questioning their career choices. I still think software development is an excellent career choice, especially if you're adaptable and you're actually looking at AI as an opportunity to increase your productivity, to deliver quicker. I've got people in my team who say, oh, I used AI for this, I'm sorry. And I'm like, well, that's fine, the code's all right. You've looked at it, you've reviewed it, it works, and we've progressed quicker because of it. Why are you apologizing? I still see this stuff as a nuclear version of autocorrect. It's predicting things. We've got IntelliSense. We can look at this as the new version of IntelliSense if you want to, just a lot more powerful. So I would encourage people who are considering this as a career path to not be discouraged by AI, instead embrace it. Balance out the fact that you still need to learn the language with being able to use AI. Because if you can do both, you've got a lot of power. Companies are looking for people who understand AI, but they need people who understand programming languages. There's not enough confidence yet to turn over critical infrastructure to AI. Large language models are not yet in the place where people can say, yeah, we don't need that dev team anymore. And there's a lot of hyperbole, there's a lot of, big talk, people saying that in 10 years' time, 90% of the code that's written will be AI generated. Well, even if that's true, that doesn't necessarily mean that software developers are not going to be needed to push that code through, to review that code. One other thing as well that I think is really important for new devs and potentially more experienced devs who are struggling with this new age of AI is to think about the role of the software developer. I mentioned that a software developer is more like a shepherd and the AI is your herd. Well, actually, I think software developers are having to think more like solution architects. I find myself more and more putting together the puzzles in the overall architecture using blocks of AI that I'm then editing. So actually, developers can spend a lot more time thinking about the actual business logic, the problems that they're solving, rather than the specific syntax that's being used. Of course, that syntax is going to get reviewed. You're still going to have coding standards, right? You've got coding standards, right? I definitely have. I use them all the time, I promise. So it is changing the way developers are perceived. There's been a long-term stereotype of the developer being the person with the headphones in the back office that just doesn't want to be talked to, doesn't want to talk to anybody else, wants to listen to hardcore techno music and write code. And that might be true for some people, but I think it's opening up a lot more now because AI is making it so that the barrier to entry is a lot lower. Now, whether that's going to dilute the market and make it so that salaries decrease, I don't know. I'm not a macroeconomist. I can only guess what's going to happen. But surely making it so that more people are able to program, surely that's a good thing. So it's a rare rant for me. Usually I'm sharing a screen and showing some C# code, but I think that it was about time for me to give my take on this situation because it's everywhere right now. And I really do feel for those people who are making their career choices because it's hard, not just in software development. Most industries are having some kind of AI intervention and people are questioning whether they should go to university, whether they should pursue the career that they wanted to originally pursue. And I can't speak for all of those industries, but for software development, I would urge people to think long and hard before they discount it, before they decide to move elsewhere. And embrace AI, be adaptable, because the people who don't embrace it will get left behind. You still need to learn how to code. And if you're learning how to code C#, then I have courses on dometrain.com. I have videos on this channel. And so I can be the one to teach you C#. Okay, great. Thanks. Love you. Bye.